From all the way out here, blue and green dominate our home planet. But peeking out at the poles, there is also plenty of white. Ice blankets roughly 10% of Earth's land surface and about 7% of the oceans. The natural rhythm of sea ice growing during winter and melting during summer shapes life in the Arctic. But over recent decades, Arctic sea ice is shrinking. Yet, exactly how do we know? We have satellites like NASA's Aqua to thank.
Arctic sea ice has a huge seasonal cycle. In every part of that cycle, it's going down.
Claire Parkinson is the NASA project scientist for the Aqua satellite mission. She studies changes in Arctic sea ice using sensors that detect passive microwaves from objects below.
Sea ice emits quite a bit of microwave radiation, much more than liquid water does, and this contrast is really valuable to us.
Routine satellite observations of Arctic sea ice began in the late 1970s. The red line you see here traces the ice at its minimum extent in 1979. With each passing decade, the minimum ice cover is shrinking.
The overall decrease has been approximately 4% per decade.
And that decrease could lead to further warming.
The sun's radiation that comes down and hits a sea ice cover largely gets reflected off and bounces back to space. If that sea ice cover disappears, then that solar radiation that comes in instead gets into the ocean, gets into the Earth atmosphere system, and warms up the system.
And without sea ice, animals like the polar bear lose their favorite spot to hunt and fish. Turns out a splash of white is a very important thing. I'm Dr. Heidi Cullen of Climate Central with the Aqua satellite mission. And that's how we know.